Alright, so I'm back with the Heliamphora Terrarium, and basically this is the finalized version, so the functionality is kind of where I want it. The only thing I would change is maybe put it into a glass terrarium so it looks nicer, but I'm not really in any rush, so I'm just kind of probably going to keep it in this for a while, and so I might as well explain to anyone else who wants to grow these plants kind of the functionality of this terrarium. I got a Peltier Cooler for $40 on eBay, and that included shipping. So in case you want one, I'll kind of show you how to set it up, because directions weren't really provided, so might as well. So the first thing that you'll see is everything is mostly the same. We have the two LED lights, the two CFL lights, and then we have the fan blowing the heat away from them, so the fan is on when the lights are on. I bought a rectifogger, and we have the hose going down into there through the lid. And then we have the Peltier Cooler, and of course then the temperature and humidity reader. And the water basin on the bottom that helps keep the humidity up. So anyways, when I got this rectifogger, they said that if you run it for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's going to burn out and you're going to dramatically shorten the lifespan of the fogger. So in order to not shorten its lifespan, originally what I was doing before I had this Peltier Cooler was running the fogger during the day and shutting it off at night. But now that we have this Peltier Cooler that blows in the air during the nighttime, we can drop the humidity very significantly, and we don't want that. So basically, I programmed the fogger to sort of turn on at these intervals. It's kind of basically every hour for an hour. During the middle of the day when it's the hottest, I run it from 12 until 3. And then, every hour in intervals. And then what I'm still going to have to kind of optimize is from 10 o'clock at night until 6 in the morning. We have the Peltier Cooler on. So I'm going to see if running the fogger every hour helps maintain the humidity at 99%. We might have to make it more frequently during the night. Maybe like run it for an hour and a half, off for half an hour, run it for another hour and a half, off for half an hour. That way, the humidity will still be, going into the terrarium to keep the humidity up, but we'll have little half an hour breaks so the machine doesn't burn out. So that's basically it. That's the functionality of it. We have bright light, we have humidity, both from the fogger and the little water basin on the bottom. So now, let's talk about the Peltier Cooler. So what this does is there is a Peltier plate in the middle of this, and basically when the current runs through it, one side gets very hot and one side gets very cold. The hot side is over here, and it kind of radiates the heat to these two radiators. And then the cold side is, of course, here. And then there's a fan on the end, so once that turns on, it sucks the air through this, gets cold, and blows it into the terrarium. Now, this is not a super fancy air conditioner. Basically, what it does is it helps drop the temperature by about 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So if the terrarium is running around 75 to 80 during the day, it'll drop it down to about 70 to 65 degrees at night. And I mean, that should be enough, because as you can see, the Heliamphoras are doing pretty well. I'd open the lid, but it's kind of hard right now. I don't want to, knock all the stuff off the top. But, there's a Sarracenoides, which has one of its adult pitchers, and it's growing a second one. So, things generally seem to be growing okay. Now with this cooler temperature, they should be growing even better. So 10 degrees drop at night. Like I said, it's on from 10 o'clock at night until 6 a.m. And so in case somebody wants to order one of these and set it up, I guess we're going to kind of do an overview now. Alright, so basically you have this power source And then you have the Peltier unit. This came pre-assembled, so that was cool because I wouldn't want to screw around building this myself. Basically, you have the 2 fans on each side that blow the hot air away from the radiator. You have the Peltier plate, hot on one side, cold on the other side. This is the cold side. And then you have another fan which blows the cold air into the terrarium, and then we have a little opening there. So basically, you're going to want to wire it up into this thing. And I have the red wires as the positive, and then I have the black wires as the negatives, and then this is basically your power source that plugs into the wall. And so you're going to want to get one of those, actually this isn't plugged in, so it's not nighttime yet. So it's one of these cords that has the ground, and they sold it originally with just one of those regular plugs that only has the 2 plugs, but I figured I'm not an electrician, so I might as well get the ground wire in case anything, explodes. So when you cut that open, you have 3 wires, and the black is the live wire, so it goes to L. The white is the neutral wire, so it goes to N. And then the green is the ground wire, so it goes to this little symbol, which is ground. So then you've got your power source powering it up from the wall, and you have the little dial here, which is your voltage adjustment, so you can get a multimeter and you stick the 2 probes, one on the negative, one on the positive. It should give you a reading, and you can adjust that to about 12 volts because that's what the fan is going to be functioning at. And then you pretty much just wire everything into these last 4 screws. They screw up, and then you can put the wires in and screw it back down. It kind of clamps them down. I think I already said this. The red is the positive, so they go to this side. You can double them up, whatever. And the COM, that's basically the negative V, so you put all the negative wires in these screws. And then you're pretty much done. Then you can plug it in. Might as well do it. And it's a little bit loud. That's the only drawback. But then once that's running, this dissipates the heat from the radiators. This starts getting really cold and blowing the air inside of the terrarium. So that's the setup. That's enough to drop the temperature 10 degrees, so we have nice cold Heliamphoras during the nighttime. Hopefully that'll make them grow a little bit better. We'll see how they're doing in a few months. So that's the setup. If anyone has any questions, kind of, about the general terrarium or the plants or the Peltier Cooler device, I guess leave me a comment down below. We can talk about it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I'm growing my Heliamphoras currently, and it seems to be working so far.